So we've been talking for several weeks now about temptations, different ways in which our life gets off track. And today I want to talk about the greatest temptation. The greatest temptation of them all is to think that your life is about you. Which maybe you think I'm just silly and I don't know what I'm talking about, but there it is. That is the greatest temptation in all of life. If you think your life is about you, then one of two things is going to happen. Either you will become bitter because it's not going your way, and where's God, and how come God's not doing the things that I need Him to do, or you will become entitled, prideful. You will think that all the blessings that you've been given are yours because you earned them, that you made them happen, and that of course you should have them. Neither of these ways are good ways. In fact, they tend to lead to the worst of ways, which is to say that if you think your life is about you and you become either bitter or prideful, then you don't end up doing what it is that we are called to do, which is to live our life for others. Because what happens is you start saying to yourself, oh, no, it's not convenient, I can't help it this time, I can't do these things, I can't take time away, it's going to be too hard, I don't have the available things to do, it's going to cost too much, or whatever excuse you happen to have at the time. And now what ends up happening is you're just about worthless. Think about it. Think about any inconvenience anybody has ever had in their life. Has it ever come at a convenient time? If you've ever had trials or tribulations, have they just been the most well-timed and you're really glad they happen right now? Oh, no, they don't, because what happens is, there you go, oh, no, this is the worst thing. That's what makes them a trial. And then you reach out and you say, look, it's all going down, help. And then somebody comes and helps you. Those are wonderful moments when we get to help each other. If it is that the thing that guides you in life is you, then you are no good to anyone. Think about that for a second. If the thing that guides you in life is you, then really what good are you to anybody but you? And the Bible is pretty clear about this. It says that if this is how you live your life, then you have received your reward. That's as good as it's going to get. If the goodness you provide for yourself in life, for all of you, just for me, then that's it. You're good. You've gotten it all. And the world is full of temptations, but the greatest and the most dangerous is that it's all about you. You can have it your way because you're worth it. These aren't my words. These are words taken directly from commercials. Because what does every company want to tell you? That you can have it your way. It's all about you and you're worth it. You should have it your way. We've talked about spirits entering, we've talked about demons entering, we've talked about devils, we've talked about Satan, we've talked about all these spiritual beings and all the ways in which they might enter into our life and attack us, but really all they do is tell us that it's all about us. And the most insidious way that happens is with the body itself, with the pleasures of the flesh, as Paul talks about it. Now I say pleasures of the flesh, I know what's going through your brain. You're thinking about sex and drugs and alcohol. And you're right. Those are absolutely pleasures of the flesh. But those aren't the most insidious ones. Laziness and selfishness are the most insidious ones. Comfort and greed are the most prevalent of all of them. And they're socially acceptable. Look, if we came across somebody and they had track marks going up their arms, right? Because of all of the drugs, all the heroin they did, we would look at that person and we'd go, oh man, that's a shame. We need to solve that person's problem. We need to fix them. But look, y'all, there are stores devoted to sloth. It's socially acceptable. You should have one. Just take a nap. Isn't that what Sundays are for? Yeah, right. The Bible's very clear. The rich have received their reward. Now, you're rich. Here's great. I went to this website. If you look at the bottom, globalrichlist.com. I typed in $30,000. You can't live in Fleming Island for $30,000 a year. $30,000 a year makes you in the top 1.23% in the world's population of wealth. An amount that would put you in poverty in Fleming Island means that you're in the 1% of the rich of the world. I don't know where your 401ks lie, but I can assure you that if you have one, you're on the list. We are on the list. We are the rich. We are the ones whose greatest demons don't possess us and convult us and make us into some kind of raving lunatics. We're the ones who are comfortable. We're the ones who live our life for us. Because it's easy. Because we can. Christ's message hits home and should hit home the hardest to us. Don't get lost in your life. Jesus says, hate your life, and that's how you'll keep eternity. So what does he mean by that? Hate your life. Well, he doesn't mean that you have to go get goth and emo and start painting your nails black and, I don't know, wear a whole bunch of purple or something like that and cry. He's not talking about hating your life like that. You don't have to go to iTunes and buy the entire catalog of The Cure and listen to, all of the sad, mopey songs from... No, that's not what I'm talking about. Although, if you did wear that hair, if somebody did bring that hair to Sunday, I would dance for you. Jesus isn't talking about that kind of hate. He's not talking about hate your life, like, oh, poor me. Oh, no, he's talking about selflessness. He's talking about putting yourself on the side and putting other people before you, Christ before you. And he's talking about being inconvenienced. He's talking about making it not fit in your schedule. He's talking about all those things that don't just come along, that you have to go out of your way for. He's talking about bearing fruit. You can tell the tree by its fruit. I defy you, go now to the hardware store, go to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever it is, buy yourself a nice lemon tree, and then wait for the bacon to grow. Bacon's not coming off of a lemon tree. That seems silly, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what Jesus said. He says, you're gonna have a lemon tree. You know what you're going to get? Lemons. He said, I can tell, Jesus says, I can tell what kind of a tree you are by the fruit you provide. Do you provide fruit at all? Well, Jesus came across a fig tree once that didn't provide any fruit. He touched it, it withered, it died. He also came across another fruit, and the farmer said, wait. I can fix this. Let me dig around it. Let me water it. Let me put some fertilizer on it. Just give me some time, and that tree will produce fruit. And it did, and that tree continued to exist in a beautiful way. So what's this metaphor all about? This metaphor is about giving of yourself to people who aren't you. Now, you might think you know who you are, but let me just give you the proper definition. You is anybody that is you, has your DNA, or is married to your DNA. So you isn't family. Nobody's ever looked at a mother and said, oh, you were up at 2 o'clock in the morning feeding and changing diapers. Wow, that's so selfless of you. We all have sympathy for them, and if you've been a parent, you know that kind of hell. But nobody says, wow, I can't believe you would do that. No, because of course you would do that. That's what mothers do. That's what fathers do. We get up at 2 a.m. in the morning and we spend time with our children because that's what's expected of us. So you can't be anybody who is you, shares your DNA, or is married to your DNA. You is all the other people in the world. So we who would follow Jesus live life, bear fruit. You should be able to point at your fruit and say, there it is. You can't look at my hands and say, there's my fruit. How do I prove my fruit then? Our lives. Somebody should be able to call it out. Can somebody look at you and say, there's a Christian without having a cross on or some tattoo on your body? Can they say, there, I know, I've seen it. There's no denying it. It's unmistakable. It's clear, it's obvious. They gave me the soup that fed me. The reality is that these fruits reflect truth. If you follow Jesus, that's your truth. If you're a fan, I bet that you have a shirt that has a Jaguar on it, or a Buckeye probably, because let's be honest. If you work, your hands are like leather. If you are a Christian, your life reflects God's glory and not your own. Maybe you've taken advantage of the Kids First out there. I know that many of you have. Like there's so much we can't even fit it on the table now. Somebody went double barrels and bought a whole bunch of pans. And the most amazing thing there is that there are going to be, I'm going to call them children, but they're going to be adults here in a second, and they're going to have this love on their stove. Maybe, can you imagine if every time they pulled out that pan, they were reminded of God's love? What an amazing gift! And it's going to be totally anonymous, which means the person who gave those pans isn't getting the glory. God is getting the glory. Because nobody knows who gave those pans. I don't want to know who gave those pans, because that is the most beautiful gift, is when you bear these fruit and God gets the glory. Because it's not about being convenient. It's not about fitting things in your life. It's not about taking care of things as they come along. It's about going out of your way. This is out of your way right now. There's a bed somewhere that could call your name, I'm sure. There's a golf course somewhere that's calling your name, I'm sure. There's a lot of other things, let's be honest, you could be doing with this time right now. Worship is a fruit. There's other fruits. Like the Kids First, there's other ways that we offer. Specifically, offering is one of those ways. It's a beautiful way, too, because what an offering plate in this congregation does is it sets a tower in Fleming Island. And it says, look, this is a group of people who are going to give God's glory. That's why we go out and we do things. The offering plate isn't just to stay there so that we might have a bigger building. It's so that we can do things, so we can go on mission trips, so we can have the Kids First, so we can send our kids out and raise them up, so that we can welcome people in and send them out. In November, we do the hunger fight. I'm sure some of you remember. I mean, we just drop kick hunger, y'all. Every year we get a little closer. We get a little more people. We get a little more money. We feed a little more. I mean, it started out when we started doing this that we would do like one pallet. I should have brought them. We filled 4 pallets, tons of food. We are really making a big impact. And when somebody who doesn't have food opens one of those packets, they're very unique packets. Should have brought one of those in too. They're very unique. It's not like a box of food. You open it and it's a unique experience to open that, because you know where you got it and you know how you got it. Somebody who loves God, because it's a Christian organization, this hunger fight, somebody who loves God gave you this food. Jesus said to Peter, "Do you love me?" Peter said, "Yeah." Jesus said, "Feed my people." He said, "Peter, do you love me?" Peter said, "Yeah, Jesus, I love you." He said, "Feed my flock." Jesus said, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter said, "Jesus, I love you." And he said, "Feed my people." Because there's nothing more powerful than a fruit of the Spirit that is food. And these fruits that we do, they're not brownie points. This isn't how we get into heaven. This is your proof. Are you worried whether or not you have salvation? There's proof. There's proof of your salvation. It's these fruits. These fruits don't earn your way into heaven. They reflect the reality that your life revolves around God such that you produce fruits. You prove your righteousness when you provide for other people, when you produce these fruits. The inconvenience of being a follower of Jesus exposes your priorities, which aren't you, your DNA, or those married to your DNA. They're your Savior and His people. This is how we die to ourselves. This is what it means to hate life. And this is what it means to have eternal life. So that at the end of your life, the greatest fruit will happen. At the end of your life, answer this question. Will you have to find the pastor to bury you, or will the pastor find you?